Good morning. Back at the boat. The troops are being fed and they've just got a little errand to run. So Chris and the boys have just got to go and pick something up and then they'll be back. So they've dropped me off. Just lighting the fire. Take the chill off. Seems silly when we're going to have all the windows and doors and hatches open for today's jobs anyway. But nonetheless, the boys will be comfy in here with the heat of the fire. And just to keep it dry as well, really. That's one of the reasons why we've left this fire in. So although it will be coming out, we'll be putting a brand new fire and flue in as part of the project that lies ahead. For now, we want to keep this as long as possible, especially because it's February, it's freezing. We've got snow forecast again for this week, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we will be able to make it through with this in situ to the warmer months, and then over the summer we'll be able to get it stripped back, and then at least the front part of the boat where the fire is going to go by the door. So in this area where you can see the jet wash there, we will then be able to get that in before next winter and at least get us to that stage so we've still got warmth to get us through. But we're nearly there, nearly at the end of the winter, so it's not too bad. So yes, big plan for today is we're going to tackle the waste tank. So whilst Chris is off work, we have brought the grinder, which does scare me, I'll be honest. It's one of the only tools I do not like to use. I've seen how very wrong it can go firsthand. My brother had a very bad grinder accident last year, so we want to make sure that we're doing that as safely as possible. But it does look like the waste tank is welded in, so I'll take you now to have a little look at what we're dealing with now that we've got the space opened up. And I'm just going to prep the area, remove some of the insulation and the bits and bobs that are around it so that we've got a clean space to work in by the time Chris gets back with the boys. Let's just get this fire topped up whilst we're at it. May as well get it nice and cozy warm in here. And yep, there she goes, lovely. Stoke her up, get her burning nicely. That'll do. So this is what we took out last week. If I make my way into here, this is the area of focus today. First of all, what's really interesting is that we knew that there was water getting in from somewhere, but this whole window here, as you can see, is wet. It is raining outside today, and the floor is extremely wet. So I need to try and figure out where exactly that's coming from, which I have a feeling it's going to be from somewhere up there, possibly. That's, you can see it's definitely still very wet inside here. So we really need to, although we do have, that was the old outlet for the shower gulper. So yes, this we need to find where this is coming from. I don't think it's condensation, I do genuinely think it's a leak. So yeah, same on that side as well. It could be that it's ran that way from this side, so hatches are there, that would make sense. So just need to try and establish exactly where it's coming in from, but we'll tidy up first. So this is just next to the engine here, and to the left hand side of the waste tank. But as you can see, it's extremely wet in here. It's obviously not the hull because it's not in the water, so there's something going on. We've got some serious leakage somewhere, and as I say, I suspect, looking and having seen the condition on the roof, it's probably from up there. So the mushroom on top of that breather pipe, just there, that's the old breather for the waste tank. That's cracked on the top and possibly leaking. The panel around the exhaust, the hole for that is not the best, and I imagine that there's water seeping down the outside of this heat sheath, shield, whatever you want to call it, and maybe dripping in there. There's also potential for it to be coming from that hatch there, because that does have a section in the roof that lifts up as well. So we definitely need to get this out and figure out where this water is coming from. Alrighty, busting out the wet dry vac. This was relatively cheap. It was on about 50-60 quid, something like that, and it is a godsend for this. So there you go. That makes light work of those little puddles. If I show you from this side now, you get a bit of a better idea there. It's dried all of that water out, and then all you do, unclick it there, unclick it there, tip that away. Beautiful. Okay, so now we've got this space cleared. You can see, if I get out of the way of the light a little bit, about what I was saying. So it seems like this is completely welded to the base plate. There's a bit of a tack there, you can't really see it on the camera, and a little something there. So that's why this is a Chris job, because we're going to need some muscle. It seems to be tacked in all the way along that edge as well. This side is a little bit more difficult to see, because obviously this steel is the main steel for the floor of the boat, and it's difficult to tell if these are little tacks here, or if it's just rusting of the tank itself. But there's definitely no gap there anywhere. So yeah, this is going to be a fun one. There is, as you can see, there's a gap there. Possibly a little tack there, welding that to the wall. So yeah, if we can get this out, I'll be super chuffed, because the plan for this waste tank, not even this one necessarily, it might be that we get a plastic one. But we're going to move the battery bank from down here and try and put a waste tank in there. So it needs to be quite a slim one, but it could be quite a tall one. So it could fill this whole space here without too much of a drama. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. But yeah, watch this space for that. All providing that we can actually get this one out, because the idea of taking all of this apart is that we can bring wall up to here. It might just come up to the end of these steels, but I may be able to bury that in the floor and the wall itself, so we'll see. And if I can bring it all the way up to here, then what we'll do is we'll have an access hatch from the bathroom side where we can just remove the whole panel off the wall to access all this area of engine. That was actually Chris's idea, so give credit where credit's due. He comes in handy for some things. So yes, plan, get rid of this, and then we can obviously reassess what space we've actually got there. It's not good for those batteries to be down there in the next to the swim anyway, where it's really cold. Obviously when this is back in the water, anything below the water line is going to be a little bit chillier, so we'll get those batteries up somewhere else, likely just sat on top perhaps. So yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
All right, plan A. Let's try and break through the tacks. Is that going to get sparks everywhere all over them electrics?
It'll be alright.
was saying.
I was fobbing up.
So he's not convinced here that the grinder is doing anything, so we're going to try a bit of brute force instead, see if that works. It was probably around this point that things didn't start making sense, because from what we could gauge from the thickness of the tank, like, we should have just been able to break the tacks and lift the tank out, but no, doesn't look like it.
This won't be that thick.
Okay, so we're trying to come up with a plan B because plan A hasn't worked as per usual. So it's looking like we are going to have to just chop the whole thing out, which isn't a problem because we weren't planning on reusing this particular tank anyway. So yeah, plan B it is. So unfortunately, plan B didn't work. So we're now on to plan C. Plan C is that we need to acquire a plasma cutter of some description, and that's going to allow us to then cut this tank out because the grinder is just not up to the job. Blame the husband. So, right, well, we're going to leave it there for today because Chris is now hell-bent on getting himself a plasma cutter. We can't focus on anything else because this big tank is right in the way, so it's stopping us from getting access to the battery bank down there that we need to pull out, the rest of the floor that needs to come out, and it feels like it's just one of them jobs that we now need to solve the problem, fix it, and then be able to move on. So yeah, we're gonna go hunt down a plasma cutter. Catch you later. So for anybody that loves a good head tilt, and especially from a puppy, I thought I'd leave this little outtake in for you. So I was actually busy editing episode 8 whilst we were filming this episode 16. Yes, I'm that behind on my editing. And baby Hugo couldn't help but just get involved. He was really intrigued. He could hear the children talking and he couldn't figure out where it was coming from. So I just thought I'd leave this here with you for all you doggo lovers out there like me who just found this absolutely adorable.